Okay, good morning all. So today the lecture is for the anatomy is having the topic that is the larynx. So we will now discuss about the gross anatomy of the larynx. So as continuation with the head and neck extremity, you already have discussed I think about the pharynx and esophagus. So when we come to the larynx, just come to the some points that the larynx is simply is representing the part of the respiratory tract and which is having the one particular one main structure present in it is there is a vocal cord that is need for the phonation, that is a voice production. Okay, so it is a 2 inches long tube. Okay, it opens above the pharynx. Okay, and you see it is open into which one, upper part of the pharynx. It is what, laryngeal part of the pharynx. Now you can see here in the diagram, first diagram, what you can see here, this is showing the one mid-sided section through the head and neck area where you can appreciate this is the nasal cavity. Yes. Okay. You see here, this is a nasal cavity. Yes. This is a palate, the tongue. This is, you see the laryngeal part of the pharynx is there. And now you can see this one is going into the what? The larynx. So that is the larynx. Yes. So this larynx is continues superiorly with the laryngeal part of pharynx, laryngopharynx, and inferiorly it is reaching downward toward the trachea. This is going downward trachea. So this is about the small larynx is there. Yes. The posterior to that one, you can see that that is the esophagus is there. That is the esophagus, which also is continuation with the oral cavity. Yes. Okay. So come back here. So what we have seen that it opens above into the laryngeal part of the pharynx and below it is continuous with the trachea. Okay. Now the larynx is having the many of the functions. Out of that you have what? That in the respiration is helps in the breathing, phonation, voice production, and also support the deglutition. That is what? Swallowing. Okay. So that is some important function of the larynx is there. Now come to that point. Now you can see in this second diagram, the larynx total of that is showing here. This is some of you say posterior view of the larynx is there. We will see in detail. Okay, so come to that point. Okay, so I am showing you the how the basically larynx is look like first. So when you see the larynx and its position, now you can see here, this is showing in the neck area the larynx. Yes, this is the larynx is there. Yes, and what you can see here, this larynx is lies in relation with what? Cervical vertebra. You can see the cervical vertebra. This is the third cervical vertebra. So it is start from the C3 and C4, C5, okay, and C6. So somehow you can say up to the C6. So C3, C4, C5, C6. These are the vertebrae which are actually is helping us to define the extent of the larynx from superior to the inferior aspect. Yes. So this is the larynx C3 to C6. Yes. So that is the larynx. Just see it. This is the larynx. Okay. So write down this. So this is the extent of larynx. Okay. So that remember it. So C3 to C6 is a larynx. Now the next question arises: the some critical structures which are present nearby to the larynx, what they are. So just look at down. You see this here, some important arteries are there in which you have the carotid arteries, all the three common external internal carotid arteries. Okay. You have a thyroid artery, the superior and the inferior thyroid arteries, the jugular veins, external and intrajugular veins. And also you have the two nerves, important one, that is the laryngeal nerve, either superior recurrent and vagus nerve. So these are some important structures. So I will show you the various structure which are present along to that particular structure. Just I will show you the one. Now, these are all the structure which we can say they are present nearby to the larynx. Now you can see all together. Yes. So that is the larynx. We already told you. Okay. Now you can see there's some structures which are present nearby to the arteries. You can see this is common carotid artery. You can see here. This is a common carotid artery. Yes. Here you can see the external carotid artery. This you can see the superior thyroid artery. Okay. Yes. Okay. This is external. Okay. And I will also show you the internal carotid artery. Just a second. Now you can see here one more artery. You can see here is the internal carotid artery. Yes. Okay. So that is the one which you can see. So that is, you can see here the common carotid, carotid sinus, internal carotid artery, external carotid artery. This is the superior thyroid artery, and from the below downward, you can see here this is the inferior thyroid artery. Yes. So now the arteries which are present in close relation to the larynx, what they are? The carotid ones, that is the external carotid artery, common carotid artery, the internal carotid arteries, superior thyroid artery, and inferior thyroid artery. Now come to the veins. When you see the vein here, this is the one which is representing the internal jugular vein. Yes, internal jugular vein. Okay, and you can see this internal jugular vein is going downward, and this is going toward the brachiocephalic. Yes, this you can see is the external jugular vein. This is the external jugular vein. Yes, you can see this is going here. Okay, reaching toward the subclavian. Yes, so the two important veins which are present nearby to that one, the larynx, is the external jugular vein, and this is the internal jugular vein. Okay, now come to the nerves. You can see here the nerves which are showing here. The first nerve is the superior laryngeal nerve. This is what? Superior laryngeal nerve. And that is which branch of superior laryngeal nerve? Internal branch. So you can see this is the superior laryngeal nerve and this is the internal branch. Yes. The other branches are also there that you can see here. This is the, you can see the external branch. So that's why we will discuss again when we go to nerve supply of the larynx, that superior laryngeal nerve, the branch of the vagus, is getting divided into the two. One is the internal laryngeal nerve, and you can see it is going inside to larynx, and this is the external laryngeal nerve. Yes. The other nerve you can see here, this is representing here the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay, recurrent laryngeal nerve. So nerves, recurrent laryngeal, superior laryngeal, and superior laryngeal nerve have the two branches, internal laryngeal and external laryngeal branch. The other nerve which is having close relation to the larynx is the vagus nerve. Okay, so now you can see this one is showing here the vagus nerve. You can see in between the two, the carotid vessel and between the interjugular vein. This is showing the vagus nerve. So now just remember these all the structure which are present nearby to the what? The vagus, the larynx. Okay, so come back again. So we have discussed about that what have the carotid arteries, common external internal, thyroid, superior and inferior thyroid artery, jugular vein, external and internal, and the nerves, superior laryngeal with the two branches, internal, external branches, and recurrent laryngeal nerve along with the vagus nerve. So this is some basic idea about the larynx, their position, their main structure, and their function. Okay, so now we'll come to the next. So when we come to the next here, you can see here the larynx is having the four basic components. And what are the basic component? That it have the cartilage skeleton, means some cartilage are there. They have the membranes and the ligaments. Okay, they have the mucosal lining, and we have the muscles, the both type of the muscle, intrinsic and extrinsic type of the muscles. So write down the first cartilage skeleton. We have a network of the cartilage. We will discuss them. The membranes and the ligaments, the mucosal linings, intrinsic and extrinsic muscles. Okay. So first we will discuss the cartilaginous skeleton. So when you come to the cartilage skeleton, the cartilage skeleton is having the three single and the three paired cartilage. So that's a total of the nine cartilage you can say if you mix them right and the left, right and the left. So you can say there are the total of nine cartilages are getting present in the larynx, out of which the three are the unpaired and three are the paired one. The first one, the three single or the unpaired cartilage in thyroid, the largest one. Then cricoid. The third one is epiglottis. So thyroid, cricoid, and epiglottis. The paired one are arytenoid, corniculate, and cuneiform. And cuneiform. Arytenoid, corniculate, and cuneiform. Okay. Now these are the cartilages. Okay, so we will discuss them all together. But remember some important points. All the cartilages are made up of hyaline cartilage except the epiglottis, which is made up of elastic cartilage. So write down this. And all the laryngeal cartilage are made up of the hyaline one except the epiglottis, which is formed by the way of elastic cartilage. And now these cartilages are the one which are the connected by the joints. We will see the joints, the membranes and ligaments, and having the movement by the way of the muscles. Okay, so come to that point here. So this is the one frontal or an anterior view of the larynx representing the one particular cartilage, the thyroid. You can see the thyroid cartilage. Yes, thyroid cartilage. This is the hyoid bone. Yes. Okay. You can say this is a cricoid cartilage and this is the epiglottis. So the three unpaired are epiglottis made up of elastic cartilage, thyroid cartilage, and cricoid cartilage. Thyroid or cricoid are hyaline. Okay. Yes. What we left the three unpaired one. We will see. So when you want to see these arytenoid, corniculate, and the cuneiform, you have to go posteriorly in the larynx to show these cartilages. So we will discuss them. Okay. So coming to that here. Okay. Now what you can see, this is a larynx. We are only now focusing on the larynx, and now we are going posteriorly to the larynx. Okay. First anteriorly. Okay. Now anteriorly, as already we discussed about that, cartilages are, this one is thyroid cartilage. You can see the thyroid cartilage. Yes. This one is cricoid cartilage, and this is what, epiglottis. Okay. Okay. Come to back here. Now what you can see that this is now what, cricoid cartilage. Okay, suppose you want to see, you can see this is a cricoid cartilage, some ring shaped cartilage. Okay. Now over the cricoid cartilage, you can see the one particular cartilage is sitting over the top of that. This is representing the arytenoid cartilage on the either side. One on here, one on here. This is what, arytenoid cartilage. Arytenoid cartilage. Yes. So arytenoid cartilage is present over the top. And next on the apex of the arytenoid cartilage, you can see this is a corniculate cartilage. Just see. You can see this is what? Corniculate cartilage. And this corniculate cartilage is next on is having attached with one particular membrane-like structure. You can see here. And if you just see this membrane, which actually known as a quadrangular membrane, we will discuss in the later on. cartilage is hanging here, and that is representing the cuneiform cartilage. Yes. So this is the arrangement of the cartilage in the larynx. Yes. So what we have seen, that we have seen a one particular one cartilage, thyroid cartilage, large one is there. Then we have the cricoid cartilage, right? We have the epiglottis, okay. We have the arytenoid, then corniculate, and finally we have the which one? Cuneiform cartilage. Okay. So this is the all the cartilages here. Now we will go one by one the cartilage to see. Now this is the thyroid cartilage. So I am just removing the other structure. Okay. Now what you can see, this thyroid cartilage is representing in one large cartilage, okay, which are having in the two halves, one in the right side, one on the left side is there. Yes. Okay. What you can see here, that these two cartilages on the right and left side are meeting together in a center, and they're making one particular bulge, and that bulge is representing the name of Adam's apple, what they known as Adam's apple. Okay, that is more prominent in the male. Yes, remember. So that is one particular angulation where you can say it provide a one type of the bulging in the neck area that is more prominent in the male and known as the Adam's apple. Yes. So these are the two lamina actually. There's a lamina, and this is the one particular notch. Okay. Now, when we go posteriorly, you see there are the two particular projections are there. One is a superior and one is the inferior. So there is the one inferior horn. This is a superior horn. So there are two horns are there. Yes, they will meet with some other structure. We will see. That is the whole of the thyroid cartilage are there. We will discuss the membrane, the muscle later on, but just you can see here. That's okay. Now, next on, when we just add up the here, the cricoid cartilage, and you will find that thyroid and the cricoid cartilage are meeting together by one joint. Now you can see the neck cartilage, I just made it here. This one is what? Cricoid cartilage. And you can see the cricoid cartilage is just like a ring. If you see from the below, I'm just going this one, and you can see here, this cricoid cartilage is just like a what? Ring shaped structure. Yes. Sorry. You can see this is the ring shaped structure, and this cricoid cartilage on the either side posteriorly they have the two facet. Now you can see the two depression are showing, one is here and one is on the other side, this depression. Now this facet or the depression are actually for the what? They are to articulate with the inferior horn of thyroid cartilage to make the cricothyroid joint. Cricothyroid joint. So now you can see. So that's particular horn is articulating with the cricoid cartilage, this one, to make the cricothyroid joint. Yes. Okay. Coming to the next with the one another cartilage, the leaf-shaped cartilage, we know that as it epiglottis. Now you can see this is epiglottis is there. You can see from the all the side representing here. So this is what? This is epiglottis. Epiglottis. Okay. Next one is what? Arytenoid. Now you can see those two triangular cartilage showing here. This is arytenoid resting over the top of the cricoid. This is the arytenoid cartilage. Yes, one on the right, one on the left. Now, when you see this arytenoid cartilage, what you can see here that you see there are some showing some projections like structure. Yes, see this is somehow projecting anteriorly. This is known actually vocal process. Some are superior. One is on the posteriorly. So that's our having some processes are there. So out of which the important one process, this is the anterior one, which is anterior one projecting toward the thyroid cartilage, and that is known as the vocal process, which later on will join with the vocal cord. That is the arytenoid cartilage. And this arytenoid cartilage are actually meeting with the cricoid, so they are making the cricoarytenoid joint. So they are actually meeting the joint known as the cricoarytenoid joint. After that, we will now come to the corniculate one. So just come to the, and we already discussed the corniculate cartilage. Where they are present here, they are present over the arytenoid one. So now you can see this is the corniculate cartilage. Okay, so you can see here they are the corniculate cartilage, right on the left, presenting over the top of the arytenoid cartilage. The small, very small cartilage. Now we have the cuneiform cartilage. So already we have discussed that the cuneiform cartilage are the one which actually is hanging in the aryepiglottic fold. So as we already have removed the aryepiglottic fold from here, you can see this is the one which is hanging here. This is the aryepiglottic fold hanging where the cuneiform is there. Yes. So this is all about the basic view of the cartilage. Okay. So come with that. Okay. Okay, so come back to theoretical part. So I think if you see the all the particular slides here written here, that we already have explained by the laryngeal view here and by the different cartilages. Okay, okay. So just again think about that, and you will find that where the cartilages are there. So now going next. So now after the cartilage network, we will now discuss about the membranes and the ligaments. Membranes and the ligaments. Okay. So when we see the membranes they may be some like the membranes which are connecting the some cartilages. Okay, some one are external membranes going to attach with some structure outside to the larynx, and some maybe the internal membranes are there. Okay, just like that, and the some thickenings of these membranes are representing the structure which we can refer as the ligaments. Okay, so coming to the next. So what the membranes are there? First one you can see here is a thyroid membrane. As the name suggests, thyroid means the one membrane which going to extend between the thyroid cartilage and hyoid bone. Yes, we will see it. Next is what? Cricotracheal membrane. Cricotracheal membrane. The name suggests from the cricoid to the trachea. So these two membrane, the hyoid and cricotracheal, they are just like that. They are representing the external membrane because they are getting attached the structure of the larynx to some external structure which are not as a part of the larynx. Okay, and now you can see here that along with that the some thickenings of this membrane are going to form here the two ligaments. What the two ligaments are there? One is a hyoepiglottic ligament and one is a thyroepiglottic ligament. We will see that. Okay. Another line which is written here in this particular para, you can see here the thyroid membrane is thickened in the median plane to form a one ligament known as the median thyroid ligament. And on the either side, it is going to form the lateral thyroid ligament. So the membrane which we will see extending from the thyroid to the hyoid bone is known as the thyroid membrane. Medially, median side, it has a thickening known as the median thyroid ligament, and laterally they have the ligament known as the lateral thyroid ligament. Okay. Okay. Just write down, then we will see the positions of these membranes and ligaments. Okay. So coming to here. So I am just going to add up here the hyoid bone. Okay, so now you can see here. So this is representing here which one? Hyoid. Okay, and this is a thyroid cartilage. So now you can see that from extending from the hyoid, going up to the thyroid, the membrane in between them is what? Thyrohyoid membrane. Thyrohyoid membrane. And we have seen in the text that centrally it is going to thicken to form a one ligament known as a median thyroid ligament. Yes, and laterally it is going to form the lateral thyroid ligament. Yes, so that is about the thyroid membrane. Yes, so this is a thyroid membrane with the median thyroid ligament and the lateral thyroid ligament. Coming down, now this is what? Cricoid cartilage. Okay, and suppose we now add up the trachea here. There is one particular membrane which is present between the cricoid and the trachea, and that is known as, in between them is cricotracheal membrane, or you can say simply cricotracheal ligament. So this is what? Cricotracheal membrane or the ligament. So because there are these two, thyroid and the cricotracheal membrane, they are meeting with some external structure out to the larynx. That why they represent the external membranes. Okay, so this is thyroid. This is sorry. This is cricotracheal membrane. Now just remember, whenever we were discussing about the important nerves around the larynx, we are discussed about the superior laryngeal nerve, which have the two membrane. What the two membrane are there? One was the internal branch and one was the external branch of superior laryngeal nerve. And if you remember that this superior laryngeal nerve internal branch is the one which is going inside to the what? This is going inside to the larynx. Yes. So now when we see this superior laryngeal nerve with its branches, just I will show you the things. Okay. Remember that particular point. So this superior laryngeal nerve, this one, having the two branch internal laryngeal nerve and external laryngeal nerve, and this interlaryngeal nerve is going inside through one space present between the which membrane? Thyroid membrane. Thyroid membrane. So this particular interlaryngeal nerve is going in through the thyroid membrane, and you can see here this is going inside and supply the mucosa. We will see next. Yes, remember that. Okay. So this is about the two membrane. Now we have some another two ligament, hyoepiglottic and thyroepiglottic. So hyoepiglottic, just you want to see the hyoepiglottic. Now you can see here that the one particular ligament which is joining the hyoid bone posteriorly and to the anterior surface of the epiglottis is known as the hyoepiglottic ligament. Again, this is the external type of ligament. Yes. Okay. And when we go down, just see, look at here. You can see there is one particular ligament which is joining the thyroid cartilage to the epiglottis. Oh, I think you can confuse that, so I will show you in this particular view. And I now want to remove this particular quadrangular membrane. So I am removing the quadrangular membrane to just go for that. Now you can see this one. So one another ligament which is joining the thyroid cartilage to the which one? Epiglottis. So this is representing here the which one? Thyroepiglottic ligament. So that's why the epiglottis have the two ligament. One is the thyroepiglottis ligament, this one, and the one we already discussed from the hyoid to the epiglottis, hyoepiglottic ligament. Yes. So now come to the here again. So we have discussed about the membranes. What the membrane is: external membrane. One is a thyroid membrane, having the one opening in it is that is going to giving the space to pass on the internal laryngeal branch. There is a branch of superior laryngeal nerve. Yes. Okay. The other membrane is a cricotracheal membrane, passing from the cricoid to the trachea, and the two ligaments. One is the hyoepiglottic, extending from the hyoid posterior surface to the epiglottis, and one is the thyroepiglottic ligament, going from the posterior aspect of thyroid to the epiglottis. Yes. So this is all about the external membranes and some ligament. Yes. Now we will come to the next way about the some another important membrane. There's the internal membranes, which are actually important because now they are going to form the true and the false vocal cord. Yes. So now we will come to that. Okay. Chalo. So the two membranes which are important one, they're written here in the lower down. This one you can see one particular one is a quadrangular membrane, which is also known as epiglottic membrane. Remember, we have seen the epiglottic membrane where the cuneiform cartilage are hanging in its lateral border, and the next one will be the cricothyroid, as the name suggests, between the cricoid cartilage to the thyroid cartilage, which is also known as conus elasticus. So let's write down the name first. Quadrangular membrane known as the epiglottic membrane, and cricothyroid membrane known as the conus elasticus. Okay. So first we will come to the epiglottic or quadrangular. Now, as the name suggests, epiglottic. So it extends between arytenoid and epiglottis. Okay. And one important point is that its lower free margin, when we see it, become thickened and they forming a ligament known as a vestibular ligament. Okay, which have another name. What is that? False vocal cord. False vocal cord. Okay. So we will come to see. So remember here, quadrangular ligament is present between arytenoid and epiglottis, and its lower border is the one which is going to form the false vocal cord, also known as the vestibular fold. Now the next one is the lower down. There is one another membrane, the cricothyroid membrane, which is getting attached to the upper border of cricoid cartilage to the thyroid cartilage, and its upper free margin is making the which ligament? Vocal ligament, which representing the which one? True vocal cord. So now these two membranes, quadrangular membrane, it's inferiorly, it is going to make the false vocal cord or the vestibular fold, and the conus elasticus, that is cricothyroid membrane, at superior border is going to form the true vocal cord or vocal ligament. So now we will come to the this particular structure. Okay. So coming to the down first. Okay. Now I am removing the trachea here. Okay. I think there is no need of trachea. Okay. Now what you can see here, there is one membrane, and you can see this is look like a quadrangular having the four margin. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes, just see. Suppose I remove all the other structure. Now you can see this is a quadrangular membrane. Okay, so this is just like the view of the quadrangular membrane. Okay. Now in this quadrangular we already discussed, this is what cuneiform cartilage hanging here. Okay. Now what you want to see here, that this quadrangular membrane is getting extended above up to the epiglottis. This is epiglottis. So you can see the one attachment here is of the epiglottis, and lower down it is meeting with the which one? Arytenoid. So that's why known as the airy epiglottic membrane. Airy epiglottic membrane. So they are on the either side. They are the airy epiglottic membrane. Now, at the lower border of this airy epiglottic membrane, this is the lower border. You can see the thickening of this membrane is representing one ligament known as the vestibular ligament. This is what? Vestibular ligament. And we know that this vestibular ligament is representing the which one? It is representing the what? False vocal cords. One on the right, one on the left. They are the false vocal cord. Yes. So please remember this is the quadrangle. So when we want to see the superior view of that, just see. This is a superior view. And in the superior view, you can see the position of what? This is a false vocal cord. One on the right, one on the left is there. Yes. So this is the view. You can see. Okay. So remember that. So it is a quadrangular membrane having a false vocal cord at its lower border known as a vestibular ligament. Okay, this one. Okay, for a time being, I am just removing the quadrangular membrane along with their vestibular ligaments. Okay, because we want to discuss the next membrane, the important one. Okay, so I just remove all the basically the quadrangular membrane, vestibular fold, and cuneiform cartilage. Okay, now coming to the next. What you can see here that from the cricoid, this is a cricoid and this is what? Thyroid cartilage. Now you can say there is one particular membrane is going here and that is representing the conus elasticus. Yes, you can see this is the conus elasticus. Okay, you see conus elasticus. Yes, this is the conus elasticus, and when you see here, this will look like that. This is the conus elasticus is there. Okay, extending from the cricoid posterior to the thyroid cartilage anteriorly. So this is a thyroid or conus elasticus. Now the superior border of this cricothyroid membrane is going to thicken to form one ligament on the right and the left, and that is representing the vocal ligament or known as a true vocal cord. So they are representing which one? True vocal cord. Now you can see this is a superior view. We have removed the quadrangular membrane, remember, but we are now discussing the which one? This one. So this is what? Conus elasticus on the either side, and this one you can say this is a vocal ligament. Vocal ligament. Yes. Yes. So this is the vocal ligament or vocal cord. So by this virtue, now you can just simply say that the true vocal cord are present as a upper thickening in the conus elasticus. Yes. You can see. Okay. And so these are the what? True vocal cord. And you can see the false vocal cord, this one and this one, they are presenting the vestibular fold which are present in the inferior border of the quadrangular membrane. So now you have these four folds, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, one on the left. It's true and false vocal cord. Yes, please remember that. Okay. And when you see the from above, that's just like thoracic inlet. When you go for the laryngoscope, the views will look like that, in which you can see they are the true vocal cord approximating each other, and above to that one, the another thickening can be seen here. There is a vestibular ligament or false vocal cord. Okay. Coming back. So now you can just go again with the theory, and you can see that one. Yes. Now come to the laryngeal inlet. Inlet means what? Whenever we see the one particular outline of the structure where from where we can get entered the larynx. Okay, so you can say it is the upper opening of the larynx, laryngeal inlet. Okay, so for in a live man, whenever you want to see the this particular laryngeal inlet, okay, you can go via laryngoscope. You can go via laryngoscope. Okay. So what you can say that it faces upward and backward, okay, and opens into the which one laryngeal part of pharynx. We already discussed about that. Okay. Now when you see the boundary of that, just see here. Just we want to go first here this side. This is a laryngeal view. Okay, from the laryngoscope. Yes. The entrally it is having the which cartilage? Epiglottis. So you can see this is showing the epiglottis. Posteriorly and the below they have the arytenoid cartilage. So you can see this is the arytenoid cartilage. Okay, and laterally you have the what airy epiglottic fold. This one is airy epiglottic. The same way this is what airy epiglottic fold, and these are two cartilage actually showing the corniform and the cuneiform cartilage, corniculate and cuneiform cartilage. Yes, so remember, so this is the view. Now if you want to see the view here, this same view you can see here. This is laryngeal inlet view. So if compare you will that, you will find this is epiglottis enterally. This is a arytenoid cartilage, and either side you have what? Quadrangular membrane or airy epiglottic. Remember, this is a airy epiglottic fold. This one. So same way. Yeah, the airy epiglottic. So this is the view. This is a view for what? Laryngeal inlet. So in this you can see enterally epiglottis. Sorry, posterior and laterally is the arytenoid, and laterally you can see here airy epiglottic fold. So this is a laryngeal inlet. Now you can write down. Okay. Now come to the laryngeal cavity. Now we are going inside to the laryngeal cavity. Okay. Now from the laryngeal inlet that we already discussed, going down up to the cricoid cartilage. So that is the laryngeal cavity. So the extend from the laryngeal inlet to the lower border cricoid cartilage. So if you see here, now suppose we go this way, and now we are removing the cricoid tracheal membrane. So now you can see this one. Okay, so cavity will become from the what? From the laryngeal inlet. This one, this is laryngeal inlet. Yes, remember, going down and reaching up to the which one? Lower border of cricoid cartilage. That particular structure will be the laryngeal cavity. So if you want to see from the below, it will look like just like that. Okay, and this is from above. Okay, coming back. Now we have the two particular ligaments. Remember, one was the true vocal cord, one was the false vocal cord. The false vocal cord was also known as vestibular fold, which is representing the thick inferior border of the quadrangular membrane, and the true vocal cord, also known as the vocal ligament, which are representing the superior thick border of the cricothyroid membrane, conus elasticus. Okay. Now, when we see the space between the two false vocal cord is known as the rima vestibuli. Remember, rima vestibuli, and between the two vocal fold, it is known as the rima glottidis, also known as the glottis. Yes. So just come to that point. So if we come to this particular way, okay. So what you can say that between the two true vocal cord, this is what the true vocal cord. The space here is known as rima glottidis, and between the two vestibular fold, this is the two vestibular fold, the blue color. The space is known as what? Rima vestibuli. Rima vestibuli. Okay. Okay. Chalo. Okay. So please. So these are the rima glottides. Okay. So narrow in the. So now what we come to here, that when we come to the cavity, okay, just come to this diagram. This is the epiglottis. Now when we going down, so whenever we are reaching from the laryngeal inlet downward, we will reach toward the vestibular fold, then the true vocal cord. So that is area is now constricting. So having narrow. So narrows is which reason now? Rima glottitis is space between the two true vocal cord. True vocal cord. Yes. Okay. Okay. So now come to the different part of the cavity. What you can see here that the reason which is present above to the rima vestibuli, in between the vestibular and the true vocal cord, and below the vocal cord. So that's why we have divided into the three. Yes. So first is what? Supraglottic part of the vestibule. Means the part which is above to the which fold? Vestibular. That is what? False vocal cord. False vocal cord. Okay. And the space between the vestibular fold and the true vocal cord is ventricle. We will see. And the below to the true vocal cord, it will be known as infraglottic. First, write down that, then we go one by one. Please write down. So there are three parts in the laryngeal cavity: supraglottic part of the vestibule, the ventricle, which is present between the false and the true vocal cord, and below the true vocal cord is the infraglottic part. Okay. So now coming to the here. So coming to this particular view. Okay. So just remember this was the rima vestibuli because there are two vestibular folds. Okay. This was the space between the two vocal cords known as rima glottidis. Yes. Okay. So above to the this particular false vocal cord, this one, whatever the space means above to the which one? False vocal cord. That space is a vestibule or supraglottic part. So please remember whatever the space I am just making by the orange color, this one is what? Vestibule. Yes. Now the space which is present in between the true and the false vocal cord means you can say this particular structure. I just mark here the black. This is the space, yes, which is known as the ventricle. This is the ventricle. And below to that space, that is below to the what true vocal cord known as the infraglottic part. So I just marking here with the pink color part. So these are the three spaces are there. Yes. Supraglottic or vestibule, ventricle in the midway, and infraglottic part. Yes. So there are three space are there. Yes. Okay. So now you can see this particular view. Okay. And suppose I remove the one side, that will better for you to understand the things. Just a second. Okay. So now you can see this is the infraglottic between the two glottis or ventricle, and this is the supraglottic part. Okay. So this is the three A, B, C. A is supraglottic in the vestibule, middle is the ventricle, and lower down is infraglottic part. And remember this ventricle, the mid part is having the invagination called a saccule. Okay, this is having the saccule outside. This is having on the either side is the one particular dilatation like structure known as a saccule. Okay. Okay, coming to the next. So now coming to the mucosal lining inside the larynx. Now remember the cavity is lined by the ciliate column epithelium except the vocal cords, because the vocal cord is having the membrane that is stratified squamous epithelium, because always when you have phonation, the vocal cord always is having in a stress, and always the mucosal membrane having the mucus gland numerous in the radiosacule that is provided for the lubrication. So just write down the things. Then we come to the muscle. Just write down the mucous membrane, and then we will come to the muscles part. Okay. Now come to the muscles. The laryngeal muscle is having the two group. One is extrinsic, one is the intrinsic. The extrinsic muscles are having two groups. One is the elevator, one is the depressor of the larynx. Elevator and depressor. Yes. Elevator means which actually helps to elevate the larynx above. Okay, and depressor means which provide the downward movement of larynx. And these extrinsic muscles are the one which going to attach between the laryngeal structure and some other structure outside to the larynx. And when we have next is intrinsic muscle, which is inside the different cartilage, to the larynx, and they have the two which control the thoracic inlet, no, sorry, laryngeal inlet muscles, and also the one which controlling the movement of the vocal. Write down. Then we come to the extrinsic muscle first. Okay, check this one. Okay, coming to the extrinsic muscle. Now, elevator of the larynx in the extrinsic category are the first is the suprahyoid, which are joining the hyoid to the above. Okay, and there is a one what the muscle are there. They are the mylohyoid, stylohyoid, okay, geniohyoid, and digastric muscle. Write down the name. I think all of you that have read about these muscles in the adenic area, the mylohyoid, stylohyoid, geniohyoid, digastric. And there are some another elevators which are actually joining the larynx with the pharynx, and they are the longitudinal muscle of pharynx known as stylopharyngeus, salpingopharyngeus, and palatopharyngeus. So all these extrinsic muscles are helping here. Okay. So you can see here the diagram is showing the muscles here. Okay. Which means you can see the right side is the digastric muscle, the anterior belly and the posterior belly. This is stylohyoid. Stylohyoid are there. Yes. You see this is the one muscle, the large muscle making here. This is a mylohyoid. This is a mylohyoid. Okay. Here is a geniohyoid. Okay. And some muscles going to form here. They are presenting here. Okay. Now going down that the muscle which are actually is making the depressor, infrahyoid muscle, which are below the hyoid, because this is a hyoid bone. So above to the hyoid, whatever the muscle they are presenting as elevator, which are present below to the hyoid, they are the depressor. In which you have the muscles, which one? You can see here this particular muscle is representing the sternothyroid. Yes, sternothyroid. This is a sternohyoid, sternohyoid, and omohyoid. Omohyoid. So this one, two, three. They are the star which is written here. They are sternohyoid, omohyoid, and this one is sternothyroid. So these are the depressors. So remember, these are the extensing muscles helping as an elevator or depressor. Okay. Now coming to the intrinsic muscles. So we will not discuss the intrinsic muscle as a original attachment or attachment, because there is no need for that. We will discuss the muscles along with that, the function that will help you for the later one. Okay. So first, the muscles which are helping to control the laryngeal inlet. What they are? Oblique, arytenoid, and aryepiglottic. Just write down the muscles. So you can see here, the oblique arytenoid are the muscle which are obliquely crossing the arytenoid, and aryepiglottic muscle is the one which you can see here, extending from the arytenoid to the epiglottis. So write down aryepiglottis and oblique arytenoid. Okay. So now we will see that particular muscles. So now you can see here the all the muscles which we want to discuss here. This is what oblique muscle, right on the left side. Okay, right on the left side are there. Yes, so you can see they are crossing each other. Okay, so these are the two aryepiglottis. Okay, this one and oblique retinoid muscle. They help to control the laryngeal inlet. So either they are going to constrict it or dilate it. Now the next is the muscles which are very important here, which are controlling the vocal cord. Now they are acting as together, either two way, either they are having to the effect on the length and the tension, either they increase the length or provide the increase in tension, or decrease the length or decrease the tension, or either they go on the adduction abduction, means either moving the vocal cord nearby to each other or away from the each other. So either they go adduction or abduction. Of course, we discussed the muscle which actually is making the increase in the length or increase the tension, or decrease in length, decrease tension. So they are the first one is the vocalis muscle, also known as thyroarytenoid. The name suggests from thyroid to arytenoid. So this is the muscle which actually relaxes the vocal cord. So that's why they decrease the both and length or tension vocal cord. And next is a cricothyroid muscle, which increase the tension and the length. So that's why the thyroarytenoid and cricothyroid muscles are acting differently over the vocal cord for the length and the tension of the vocal cords. Yes. Okay. So they are the what? Thyroarytenoid and cricothyroid. Okay. So we will see that. Now you can see this is a thyroarytenoid muscle. The name suggests extending from the thyroid. You can see here. This is extending from the thyroid to the arytenoid, thyroarytenoid. Okay. And the next one is what? Cricothyroid muscle. You can see there are two part. Okay, so you see the cricoid to thyroid. So one, this cricothyroid muscle is the one you can see which is going to increase the tension, and this particular the vocalis or thyroarytenoid muscle, they are the one which actually helping to relax this one. Okay, so these are the two muscles, thyroarytenoid and cricothyroid muscle. Okay. Now, next is adduction and abduction. So, adductor means which are giving the nearby movement of the cords. So, adductors are the two, lateral cricoarytenoid and transverse arytenoid. Lateral cricoarytenoid and transverse arytenoid. Write down them. And abductor are the posterior cricoarytenoid. Posterior cricoarytenoid. Okay. So first is this one. Now you can see here, this is a transverse arytenoid, this is a posterior cricoarytenoid, and we will see this one is a lateral cricoarytenoid. Okay. Just a minute. Okay, I'm removing this particular muscle. Okay. So what you can say, this is a posterior transverse arytenoid, which helps into the what? Adduction, and the posterior cricoarytenoid helps in a abduction. So I'm just moving them. Okay. So they are the posterior cricoarytenoid abductor, and lateral cricoarytenoid and transverse arytenoid are the adductors. Okay. So if you see, they are showing here a diagram where you can see that this is the adduction. You see the lower diagram. In the adduction, they are the close, and in the abduction, the vocal cord are away from each other. So rima glottidis is increased in the abduction by the way of posterior cricoarytenoid, and abductor, the causing to the remote to be decrease in the length. Coming to the nerve supply of the larynx. The names of the nerves we already discussed. Remember, we have the interlaryngeal nerve, extralaryngeal nerve, recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay, so now we had the discuss. First, we discuss the sensory one. Just see here. So, sensory one above the vocal cord, inside the mucosa is supplied by the internal laryngeal branch of superior laryngeal nerve, and below the vocal cord, that is supplied the recurrent laryngeal. Please remember, first is the sensory. So, sensory supply above the vocal cord by the way of internal laryngeal nerve, the branch of superior laryngeal branch, and below the vocal cord it is by the way of recurrent laryngeal nerve. Okay. Now motor supply, all the interesting muscles supplied by the way of recurrent laryngeal nerve except which one? Cricothyroid. And this cricothyroid was supplied by the external laryngeal branch of superior laryngeal nerve. Okay. Remember the superior laryngeal nerve? Na? The superior laryngeal nerve we discussed interlaryngeal nerve is passing through the thyroid membrane inside and external laryngeal nerve. So that's I remember. So this external laryngeal nerve is one which is supplying the which muscle? Cricothyroid. So please remember. So this is the sensory and the motor supply for the larynx. Okay. Now artery supply. The upper half, superior laryngeal artery, the branch of superior thyroid artery, and branch inferior thyroid artery supplying the lower half, that is inferior laryngeal artery. Veins, we already discussed about the accompanying artery, that is the superior laryngeal vein and inferior laryngeal vein. Lymphatics, the lymphatic vessel, they comes and drink the deep cervical group of the lymph nodes. So write down this. Okay, so this is all the nerve supply, artery supply, venous and lymphatic drainage. Okay, now there is some applied aspect related to the larynx. Okay, this is the last slide. That this is the one law known as Simon's law. That is for the development of the recurrent laryngeal nerve. It shows that there is a different effect between the damage, that is surgical trauma, or transaction recurrent laryngeal nerve occur whenever we are going to provide the neck surgery. Okay, at the time either thyroidectomy or perithyroidectomy. So when we go to the transaction of the recurrent laryngeal nerve, okay, okay, what happens? The cords they're coming in the cadaveric position. Yes, and when we come to the no transactions, that is cords are going to prevent in the what median and parathyroid position. So that is so transaction is provide actually the complete paralysis. So in which the cords are half abducted and half you say half adducted, in which the person is cannot speak or the cough. But what happens whenever the cords are having the partial paralysis in this particular way, you can say they are adducted. Okay, adducted, because the abductor, remember the posterior carotenoid is now lost completely. So in that condition, the patient is cannot meet. So that is median pacematation is okay. So that is more having disaster. So that's why if the damage occurred due to the both sides of the nerve, patient may die because there's bilaterally adduction may be there, but it's only the one side that having the chances to the recovery. So please remember. So whenever the transaction completely occur on the laryngeal nerve, the half adducted abducted, so only the patient is not speak or cough, but it can breathe. But if they are only having trauma, not transact complete the laryngeal nerve, and if it is bilateral, so they are more fatal. So that's why they have no chances of the what, the air to be passed. So that's why the patient cannot be breathe. Okay. So this is all about the larynx. Okay, so please make a revision of that. Okay, and if any query, you can mail that. Okay, bye bye. All the best.